Hello everyone and welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well. Whether this is the first time you have clicked onto one of these videos or whether you are returning or a new subscriber, welcome one and all. Very quick and exciting announcement. We have the very last podcast episode, which is episode 7 of 2021. We will be back in the new year, but I wanted to leave with episode 7 for this year with an absolute corker, and I think we did it. It's all live and it's called From Zero to Infinity, the Spiritual Detox for Changing the Game. It's absolutely incredible. An hour of going through systematically and very practically how I detox from absolutely everything and then put what I needed back, and literally found myself again. And yes, that does include detoxing from spirituality too. So if you're interested in that, that is up live again. That is episode 7 of the Unicorn Light podcast. I will put all the details down below, and that is our last one for 2021. So I really wanted to make it special for you. There's lots of other episodes too. If you haven't checked it out, please feel free. Like I said, all the information is down below, so go check that out. Now for today, we are doing... let's see, what are we doing? We are doing Pick a Doorway. These are your doorways. And we are doing 2022 celebrations. What greatness is coming in for you next year, the year of 2022. So as always, we have 3 piles. The first pile has Yay on it. That's your first doorway. Your second doorway has number 1 on there. And your third doorway has this one pointing that way. So as always, take as much time as you need. There may be so many different reasons why you choose a particular card, not necessarily, or a particular pile, not necessarily what's upon it, but just the energy of it. However you choose them is your own personal private business. And if you need a little bit of time to get back to self, because the more you are attuned and aligned with your own being and your own chakras and your own heartfelt center and your own intuition, the more these are going to resonate. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video, feel free to do that. The timestamps will always be linked below for you to go straight to your pile. So let's go ahead and put aside pile 2 and 3. So, doorway 1, if you chose Yay, incredible, this is for you. 2022 celebrations. What greatness is in store for you next year or the year 2022. Let's get right into your reading. We're going to start with your oracle, move on to tarot. Your first card is the Crumbling. What are you clinging on to? Second card is communication and number 33. Let's put that down there. Then you have Gaia, Earth connection. Be mindful of the planet, coming back to Earth. Stay grounded. And then you have meditate and contemplate, new moon in Pisces. So what greatness is coming to you in 2022? Well, it feels as though whatever has been activated and started within 2021 definitely culminates in 2022. So it feels as though there's been a lot of ups and downs this year for you. And a lot of this year in 2021 has really been about trying to, or figuring out how to maintain your energy and how to maintain an energy that is you when everything else is crumbling all around you. How to differentiate your energy between yourself and others, and what it is that you truly want. Really getting back to the crux of who you are and what it is that you truly want. There's an essence of you that's crumbling away, that's really exciting. Now, in the past, this has not been a very exciting sort of era in the past when things have crumbled away, because it left confusion and it left this frustration of, all right, things are crumbling, but now what? There wasn't this newness coming in. 2021 brings in opportunities where you will be able to sort of step into, not sort of, you will be able to step into new layers of responsibility And from that energy, you'll be able to look back and see how far you've come. It's not that you haven't changed so much in 2021. You really have. It's just that with all the ups and downs and the figuring out of things, it's just been almost impossible for you to sort of really take time and energy to see how far you've come. So you tend to be a little bit sort of negative on yourself. But these new opportunities that are coming in, because we don't always recognize the growth while we're going through it. When we're generally in the eye of the storm, we're in the eye of the storm. We're moving through, we're seeing things, we're sort of in survival mode. What do we need to get through this? So there's not been this sort of, there's been plateaus of energy where you can create more of a foundation for yourself, so you can see where you're going and you can recognize that you're not quite the same as you were before. But we think that when you get into 2022, something's going to shift in a much bigger way, where these opportunities that are coming in from the external that you will be bringing into your consciousness and you'll be moving in, you'll be able to see quite tangibly how much you've grown. And also the other side of that is that not only how much you've grown, because you're able to look back and really appreciate your journey a lot more, but also you'll be able to see how much you've grown insofar as how much of what you thought you wanted, you no longer want. There's a lot of separation between what it is you think you do want right now and what it is you actually want. Now, some of what it is that you think you want will be delivered to you incidentally in a way, but it's almost like you've figured out, you've gotten into that responsibility, you're figuring out at the beginning of the year. It's almost like you're making a pact with yourself. This is what happened last year. And it feels as though a lot of what happened this year was sort of beyond your control. That's not entirely true, although there was an energy of chaos in the collective, globally and personally, with a lot of folks. And within that energy, there was peace moving through it. But it really did feel as though a lot of our insights came from the chaos, looking through the chaos, transmuting the chaos. And there's going to be a completely different way to see things in 2022. So when you're not looking through the chaos, there's not a lot of energy spent trying to figure out how to get to you through the chaos. So as these external opportunities come in and sort of refit around what it is that you want, you're really able to see your growth and appreciate it in a brand new way. For some of you, there's also sort of new love coming in or a leveling up of the relationship that you're in, but it's significant. It's a significant way of moving forward, and it's not incidental. You're saying at the beginning of 2022, this is what happened last year. I felt as though a lot of it was out of my control. Now, you're not coming at it from a control standpoint at all. You're coming from it from a heartfelt standpoint, but you're coming at it from the energy of putting yourself first and then seeing how everything else plays out. Whereas this year was so much energy is going on. It's so chaotic. I'm getting lost in the energy of, what's on in the yonder. I think this is what I want. But it's only when things started falling away, you realize that, oh, I thought I wanted this, then I didn't. This is going to be a much more sort of seemingly active role for you. So it feels as though what's tangible in the external is really going to be solidified in 2022, especially in the beginning months. It's like, you're starting the energy now of this catalyst to say, this is what I want. I'm going to do this. And because of everything that you've gone through this year, you're ready to put your energy to it at the beginning of next year. Now, a lot of you felt as though you would be a little bit further on by the end of this year. And we want to correct you a little bit on that. Again, you are a lot more further on than you've given yourself credit for. But we totally understand that in hindsight, you can't really see that yet. It's just that usually there's a success element with you, and you're very good at success, and you're very good at what you do. And it feels as though an element of that has been taken out of your day-to-day life. So it was very difficult for you to really ascertain how amazing you are and how much you've grown. But next year, you're going to be given those opportunities to be able to see that. But it was really important for you this year to work through a lot of the stuff that nobody sees, to work through a lot of that, for want of a better term, spiritual stuff, but all of that old gunk, all of that old programming coming up and leaving, because some of that does and has done in the past. It's sort of messed with you, and it's messed with your ego a little bit. with this idea of having to prove yourself in some way, shape, or form. And because you've been working on this from the inside out this year, it doesn't feel as though looking from the external in that you've made as much progress as you have. But you've actually done an incredible amount of work. And when you get out there and you start getting into these external circumstances and opportunities that are coming in for you next year, you'll be able to rise much quicker, because you're not holding yourself back by being down on yourself or doing this trying to prove something in some ways. And because this is a general reading, each and every one of you had a different way on how you tried to prove yourself. And it was in a very, very powerful way, in a way. And you all had different ways of doing that. Putting your energy into sometimes the wrong people, trying to be seen and accepted by the wrong people. Not because you desperately cared what they thought of you, but it was an old paradigm of trying to see your worth from other people because you weren't given the right kind of attention initially. It's these old paradigms that were coming up that you were working through this year. And as you started working through them, they actually were quite layered, and they took a lot from you. And on top of that, you had all of the energy going on globally and collectively too. And that was mirroring everything that was going on with you too. So it was very difficult to really ascertain again what was really globally, what was really going on, and what was really you. And the answer is they were both you. They were both you. They were both mirroring each other. And they went deep. They went pretty deep. Like we said, when she started getting into this, it was layered. And there was a lot more that came up. But you were well able for it. You handled 2021 like an absolute trooper. Now, you may not have seen that because there were some dips and some dives there. And there were a couple of dark days for you. But at the end of the day, you really did handle this incredibly well. Incredibly well, much more than you would have many, many years before. You didn't go for the usual trying to make this work, the usual ways that you would have done this, that may not have been terribly productive. You stayed in that energy and you chased it down until you realized what was really at the crux of everything that was going on, and you didn't run away from anything. And that took an amazing amount of courage, especially with everything that's going on. If there's any time that anybody wants to run away, it would be now, right? Because there's just so much. There's just so much, but you didn't do that. And all of this payoff is going to come for you in 2022 in ways that are extremely unexpected, because you've been working on this foundation of being really honest with yourself. And again, things are going to be shifting for you. What you thought you wanted will shift. And what you thought you could get or what you thought you could achieve is going to shift. It's going to get much bigger and brighter. So what we would say to you, if we had any advice for you, and whether you take this or not is completely up to you, of course, always listen to your intuition, but we would say check in on where you are, because you haven't really caught up to how brilliant and how much has been integrated yet. And that's going to be foolproof. You're going to really be able to see this in tangible form. And at some level, I think it's really important to see things in tangible form, so you can, we can ascertain all sorts of ways and look back and really have a clue of how much we've grown. But until we're actually in a new situation and we see it all play out, it's difficult for us sometimes to really appreciate how much we've come into ourselves. So we totally understand that, you may not quite be, although you're being moved in the position, you're being moved into these positions of these new opportunities coming in, but we can understand that you can't quite see the whole picture yet. But if you want to start opening up to what you think you want and start leveling up now, at least being really open to what you think you are, what you think you want. There's so much more expansion for you in 2022. So if we can give you any advice, we would say start getting in the mode of that kind of expansion. If you don't know what that looks like, you don't have to be specific about what you think you want. In fact, it might be better just to leave it up to the expansiveness and really click into your heart chakra, really click into your intuition, and of course your higher self, and just surrender to the process and say, what do you think? I'm ready for 1,000%. You're ready to turn this up. I mean, you were at 100% 2021, but you're going to be at 1,000% at 2022. It's not going to take much time to get in there. Once 2022 kicks in, you're ready to go. You're ready to go. This is not 6 months down the line. I mean, you're going to have a very eventful year. So it's just a matter of staying expansive. And then within that energy of expansion, just watch the ideas that come in, because I think there's going to be some interesting clues for you there about how you will be moving forward in 2022. And it's okay if you have very specific notions of what you want. Absolutely. Some of you will do, and that's fine. And some of you will go for just that, or you'll use that as a starting point and move in a different direction. But staying in the energy of expansion, and also staying in the energy of knowing that you can achieve what it is you really want now in a way that you never quite have before. It's almost like for a lot of you, you've been teetering on that point of feeling as though you sort of made it. And of course, that's just the way we think with the human mind. I mean, you've already made it, but in incredible ways. But yeah, keeping that mind and heart open. Let's see what we got for you here with the crumbling. Yeah, you've got the Emperor. You've got that energy. You've got the Moon. So you've done all of this incredible work. And this incredible work has been illuminated. You've done a lot of this work, not just in the darkness, but sort of on your own. You may have had some loved ones in and around you, absolutely adored you. It's not that you were actually alone, but this was private for you. What you went through in 2021, this is a personal, private affair of you going through everything and integrating it and digging deep. And you knew that you could do it, but it wasn't something that you wanted to bring anybody else on or really discuss. I mean, there might have been certain aspects, you know, when you had an idea about something, you might have run it by somebody. But really, this was about gaining your energy and gaining the confidence back in yourself. You did an incredible amount of work behind closed doors on your own terms, and you stay true to yourself, which is an incredible feat the entire time. And, you know, when you were confused, you were honest and open about that with yourself. You know, in the past, you wouldn't have done that. You would have just accepted the confusion and then gone off in a different direction. It didn't stay there and clear it out before you moved on to the next thing. So a lot of the decisions that you've made in the past had the sort of the hesitancy or the cloudiness of confusion in and around it. It's almost like, you know, life was choosing things for you. But this is the year 2022 where you step up and start choosing for yourself, and you're able to back that up now. It's not that, you know, a lot of you has changed insofar as all of your gifts are wonderful. Your gifts were there before. Some of them may have been a little bit more pronounced this year, but that's only because you're stepping up in your energy in a different way. Whatever traits and beautiful things that you could do before, you still have. None of that has really shifted, but the way in which you present them and integrate them into the world in 2022 is going to be on your own terms. No more fighting. No more doing things sort of, and it wasn't the wrong way. There's no right or wrong, but it's no longer doing things in that way where you're constantly fighting yourself or you're constantly fighting yourself out of a situation. And also this understanding of not taking on anybody else's energy anymore. If it doesn't feel right to you, if you don't want that energy around you, you're not going to take it on anymore. This is a time for you when previously you've drowned in a lot of emotion and you thought a lot of that emotion was yours, but actually it really wasn't. You were taking on so many people's other emotions. And this year you realize that you don't need to do that. And your truth is your truth. You're going to stand in whatever's right for you may not be right for somebody else, but you're not taking on anybody else's energy, which means that you're not fighting with yourself. You're not fighting to go in one direction and seeing where it ends up. You're actually living from your heart center now. There's a real divine masculine energy coming in of moving forward, but it has this receptivity of the beautiful divine feminine where you're waiting for things you've done this before when you're looking on the outside, looking in. And you're summing up a situation, you're summing up people and opportunities. You've always had this energy to you, that energy of mystery. Not many people really, truly know you. And that's fine. But the most important thing is that 2021, you didn't know how deep you were, and now you do. And there's an energy again of this expansiveness that's coming in for you that's already here, but you're going to be primed and using it in a very specific way, allowing things to come to you, but at the same time really using that energy to move forward. And everything that you've been doing in the last year, in 2021, is absolutely going to help you move forward in a really specific way. It's almost like everything that you did before 2021, just generally, even when you were in success, other things would come in, and you always felt like, even when you sort of were seeming like you were getting to the top, something else would come in, something else would come back, and it would shoot you down a little bit, and it would be short-lived, and you'd move on to something else, and you create this cycle again. This time it's like you're going to be able to create whatever it is that you want. You're not running away from yourself anymore. There's nothing that's coming up from your past that's going to leak in and tell you the most ridiculous things that were never true, that you're not good enough. And that's another thing that you've worked on, this understanding that you deserve happiness. That was kind of a big thing for you. You deserve joy. You deserve happiness. There was a large part of you that believed that there was the slog, that everything needed to be difficult, everything needed to be hard. In fact, there was some of you that didn't even trust if something was too easy. Now, if something comes in easy and there's nothing to back it up and it falls away, that's different. But things can come in quite easily. It doesn't mean that you don't need to work for it. It doesn't mean that there's energy not behind it that needs to be maintained. But like, there was just this innate distrust of anything that came easy. And now you realize that everything can be a lot easier. And the way in which you work for things can be a lot easier too. You're taking all of this information, all of these insights, and you're literally integrating them in such a way, and you're layering them up in your beautiful system, that this negativity that was previously there has just been pushed out. And there's just no room. There's no room for it to get back in. So you're starting 2022 off with an absolute gusto. Keep that expansiveness right now in 2021 whenever you click onto this video, and just keep it real, keep it open. And remember, keep clicking into your higher self if you don't have a specific about what it is that you want to do. But allowing these beautiful energies and these ideas, because some of these ideas might at first seem a little out there, but we promise you there's going to be the right people, the right situations, the right opportunities that will show you that they're not that out there. What it is that you want to achieve is absolutely achievable, and it's going to be happening for you systematically as you hit in that 2022. All right, my darlings, that's what we have for you, Pile 1. We are sending so much love to you for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Do not forget to check out that beautiful new podcast, episode number 7. That's definitely going to help you here to clear out everything, solidify all that extra work that you've been doing, everything that you've been working on 2021. So check that out, link down below. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to Unicorn Lake Tarot, we would love to have you. And of course, hit that like button and the bell icon so you never miss a video to a week. So until we meet again, my darlings, you go be you. Take care. Okay, Pile 2, this is your pick a doorway. Your doorway has the number 1 on the other side of it. So this is your reading. And again, we are doing 2022 celebrations. What greatness is coming in for you next year, or the year 2022. So we will start your reading off with Oracle, move on to our beautiful tarot a little later on. Let's get right into your reading. Transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing. Beautiful. That's your first card. Then we have spirituality, number 77. Lovely. Then you have Freya. I love this. Cycles and phases and cycles. There is a beginning within every ending. Illuminations are revealed and released. Wonderful. Okay, your commitment is being tested. First quarter moon. All right. All you beautiful Pile 2s. Feeling as though some of you can't wait until 2021 has ended. A lot of things have come up for you. And this you have in common with Pile 1, but very different energies. A lot of ups and a lot of downs. This year, 2021, was about putting your energy first and figuring out what it is that you want. And also, more specifically, 2021 was very much about understanding how it affected you when you did not put your energy first. And then with that sort of understanding, looking through the rest of your life, your past, looking through it and seeing how not things needed to be shifted, but seeing how you were affected when you didn't put your energy first, and what it is that you gave up, what it is that you sort of gave away, how you gave your power away in a very specific way. Now, here's the thing. Your power remained really insular within, but it wasn't able to be activated by you, because what you did is you kept your power so tightly sort of within you. It's almost like nobody could get to it, including you, because it was so protected. So, a lot of 2021 was working through stuff. Absolutely. There was a lot of movement forward, especially sort of on the auric level, or the spiritual level, if you want to call it that. But again, also look at the practical level when you look back on your life. Oh, this pattern, this happened. Okay, that's fine. But the one thing that we want to correct for you is that a lot of you felt as though maybe you took the easy way out, or there was some kind of weakness there, or, you could have been stronger here, or you gave away a bunch of your power here. And, we just want to be really clear about this. Your power remained so tightly wound within you, that it was so protected by you that you couldn't get in there to work with it. You couldn't get in there to integrate any of your power. So it wasn't as if you were weak in any way, and it's not really that you gave away your power. It's just that you couldn't access your power, but you shut your power down in order to protect it. And this year you realize, and there was a lot of feistiness that came out of you this year, which is absolutely incredible. It's not that you weren't feisty before. You've got a passionate side of you. But there was like an FU kind of like energy that came up for a lot of you this year. And that's because very slowly there was a catalyst moving within you, like activating that personal power. So it's a little bit incorrect, or at least not the whole story, to say that you gave away your power. So for those of you who are being extremely hard on yourself for some of the ways that you let people treat you, these are your words, these are not our words. That's where you were at the time, simply because, like we said, you'd shut down your power. Now, it never went anywhere, and your power was absolutely extreme, but you were holding it for ransom. You were holding it shut in there because you wanted to protect it. And, and this is something that's probably happened in generations too, to protect that energy, to protect that power. So you were not really able to see, or you didn't really, for a lot of you, there wasn't a lot of you who had really radiant examples around you of how to click into that power. Now, it's fine that you kept it there, and it's fine that you held it within you, and that it's fine that you were protecting it. But if you weren't shown how to access it, then of course these situations came and went, and you were blaming yourself for them. So you didn't even know how to access it necessarily this year, but in the last 18 months, you were activated. And once you started activating, what happened is that things started falling away, and then there was almost like little kinks in the armor, right? And through the kinks, you could see there was something there. And then as you moved a little bit further and pulled a little bit away, more bricks out of the wall, you saw it was your power. Now, this power that you have is really intense, right? So the power that you have is really, really intense, and it's been kind of under lock and key for a little while. So expect yourself to be a little feisty and be okay with that. Now, you are used to, Pal 2, going from one extreme to the other. You have it in you to be able to do that. So but there's a part of you, and we really acknowledge this, and our heart goes out to you. There's a part of you that's been in the neutral way. I don't want to be one or the other. I want to take the new, and that's absolutely wonderful, because sometimes when you live in the extremes, it can be really intense, and you've seen yourself do that. So you've been bringing yourself back to sort of the more neutral area. So now that this feistiness of really within this power has been really activated within you, you feel as though there's an extreme part of you that's coming out, and you've worked so hard to sort of be neutral, which is not bland in any way, shape, or form. You're just not veering off in one direction or the other, which is something that you used to do. So when this feistiness comes up, you're like, oh no, here we go again. And it's not like that at all, but we totally understand where it's coming from. Now, a lot of you has been really activated already into this feistiness that's coming in. And this is just the beginning of how you're going to utilize your power. You're starting to see how powerful you are. Now, that feistiness that you have, and you have an element of telling it how it is, but the way in which you articulate yourself is not from the ego. It's genuinely for the heart, but you don't dumb it down. And now that's an element of you that you've always had, pile 2. You've always had it. So it's not come out of nowhere. Now that's integrating into a part of your power. Now some of that will calm down a little bit. You know how to speak to people. You know, you're not out to get people. You're not, you know, putting your energy in other people's faces or this, that, and the other. But at the same time, if people come looking for the truth, you're going to say it. So a lot of, and a lot of people don't necessarily want to hear it. But that's fine. They won't necessarily come across you. But this feistiness that's coming up, there's an element of it that's going to be integrated to a certain degree. But the most that's going to be integrated is the fact that you're just, you know, you'll have the right articulation for the right time and the, you know, the right people. There's a timing to how you articulate yourself, and that's going to be brilliant. But the way in which you articulate yourself is pretty fiery. And again, that's part of your power. That's what you're here to do. You're not really here to mollycoddle people, but you're not here to be nasty either. But there's a beautiful essence to you. You've got that badassery to you. So for those of you who are just accessing this part of you again, and you're like, oh, I don't want to go off into the extremes, it's not. Now, there's a balancing out that's coming into the way in which you articulate yourself. But for those of you who are feeling as though, oh my goodness, I can't believe I just said that, or second guessing, you know, their thoughts because they're really feisty, and you've worked so hard to sort of not dumb yourself down in any way, shape, or form, but to not go off in the extremes, and you're seeing this as maybe one extreme or the other. It's not. It really isn't. And our advice to you is just let it out. Again, trust yourself that you have the right timing, that the feistiness comes out in the right way. And it really is. This is part of your transformation. And again, this is something that's been within you anyway. You've always had this feistiness within you, right? Absolutely. But, you know, at times you've dumbed yourself down, and also maybe it's come out at the wrong time. So there was a part of you that was like, I came out at the wrong time, so I'm going to create this sort of barrier around my my own personal power, make sure it doesn't come out at the wrong time again. There were many, many different reasons why you sort of you put a barrier around your own power, which is an essence of some of your personality coming out. Now, some of it, when you felt safe, you let it come out, but for the most part, you kept it hidden a little bit. But this is not like this. This is areas of you coming back to you. And again, they might dumb themselves down, or they might integrate a little bit. You won't be as feisty, but you'll always have that passion, and you'll always have that energy to you. So I wouldn't try and dumb it down. In fact, I would embrace it, because if you try and dumb it down, then you're going to really infuse this anger within you, and it might pop up in inopportune moments. There's no reason for you to dumb it down. And you're not going off into extremes. You just have a beautiful way of expressing yourself. And it's pretty badass, actually. So this is a lot of your transformation that you've been going through. And you're going to solidify this at least at the beginning of 2022. And the opening up of your power that's been activated will be activated even more in 2022, where you really come into this sort of goddess aspect of yourself. This has got nothing to do with gender. There's a real opening up to your own version of what femininity looks like, and your own version of the divine feminine and what that looks like. And not only is it receptive and beautiful, but it is also badass, right? So it's about balancing those two, allowing them to integrate fully into your system, and owning your power from the inside out. Again, most of this power has already been activated. It might be coming up in different ways. But this is a way for you not just to activate your own power, but to work through it and to navigate it the way that you want. You've never really navigated your power the way in which you want in the world. So this is something that you will be able to do. And it's a very powerful form of living. And you are moving into this energy already. So the transformation has already happened, and all of this is moving through you, this reclaiming of your power. Now, when you dumbed your power down, or you sort of deactivated it a little bit to protect it, A lot of people projected upon you and told you who you were. And because you weren't fully aligned with your own power, that some of you actually believed them. Now, we can honestly say with all objectivity that none of them were even remotely correct, and they would not have been able to be correct because you were hiding so much of yourself. It was all speculation. This is the year 2022 where you get to step up 2 feet in the ground and say, this is what I'm doing and this is me. If you don't like me, that's fine. Others will, right? You're not trying to fit yourself into a situation and make things work. You're going into a situation and people are going to have to work around you. This has got nothing to do with the ego, but this is an honoring of your strength in a way that you've never honored it before. Because if you honor your strength, others will too. And you can navigate your life in a completely different way. And this is you at the helm, going for it in 2022. And what it is that you're here to do requires you being in your full power. You're here to actually bring a lot of incredible wisdom and integrate it into the world. And this is something that you need to do when you're in full power mode. So what do we have here? Yeah, you have the Queen of Cups with transformation here and spirituality. You've got the Page of Swords. This is absolutely gorgeous. Your acute emotionality and the way in which you've used it. Now, your power that was trying to be shut down by you always lived within you. And every now and again, when you were triggered, this immense amount of like overwhelming emotionality came up and overwhelmed you and kind of scared you a little bit. And then some of you might even been quite afraid of your power because that was just the beginning of what you were capable of, because you could really feel the depths of who you were. And that was totally understandable. Now that the cat's out of the bag, now that you are fully embracing, and you're not even there yet, you're getting to the point of fully embracing your full power, and really starting to see what that looks like. It's almost as if the cat's out of the bag, you can see the power's there, you're ready, but you're still going around it like a sculpture and kind of feeling around it and all of that. But you can feel like that depth of emotionality actually really is what you've been working from. And once it's fully integrated, it's going to be your ally. So you spent a lot of your time in life being quite afraid of your own power because you felt you were very powerful, but you weren't integrated. So you couldn't really work with that own power. You were almost using it against yourself. And also the other side of it is that this emotionality that you felt just didn't feel as though it could ever be integrated. It didn't feel as though it felt too much. And now you're able to integrate this in a way that when you come in and speak your truth, and it's incredible truth, then you have this incredible power behind the truth. Now that's backed up by your depth of vision and your depth of field. People trust you when you say things because they can feel that you've been through hell and back and you've come out of it like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and you know what the hell you're talking about, right? A lot of people who say certain things, sometimes they're not talking from experience, or they're talking from a very, very limited experience that's projected onto other things, but it's not really worked through yet, right? It's still working from the ego. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not where you're coming from. And in fact, you've never really come from that. You've never really come from working from the ego. And the odd time that you've had, you've done that out of protection. You've done that because you needed to. Your back was up against the wall. So this incredible feat that you have here, you have the Ten of Swords and you have the Chariot. So the ways in which you were working before are no longer working for you. That's neither here nor there. You already understand that. But you know, you always wanted to do things your own way too, because you felt like if you narrowed your world, you could control it a little bit. Now, for somebody who would shut down their power, that's a perfectly reasonable way to work through the world. But you narrowed your opportunities a little bit. Again, anything that's really for you, you didn't take yourself out of the running for it. So here's the thing, you know, for a good couple of years, you took yourself out of the world and you've been working on this one way or another. Didn't really necessarily feel as though you were working on your power until you were activated, and then you were like, all right, this is really happening. So a lot of you may be looking back and going, I kind of wasted this time because it feels as though nothing's happened. But that's not true at all. And actually, as a catalyst in 2022, you're going to be able to see it all come to fruition. So you're going to be moving forward very, very quickly in 2022. And a lot of that energy is probably coming in at the end of 2021 or has already started happening. So it's about keeping that energy fierce and knowing the direction that you're moving in. And also really utilizing and clicking right into that power that you have, that beautiful power that you have, and really getting to know it. And again, you know, if you're coming up and it seems a little overwhelming for people, that's another thing that's happened to you. If I could give you a big virtual hug, I would. You know, I don't know how many times people have told me to tone it down, or I'm too intense, or this, that, and the other. I mean, that literally up until maybe 5 years ago could have been printed on my gravestone. I had it said to me so many times. People were so incredibly overwhelmed by me, and I always saw that as a negative thing, right? So it's all about really energizing into that energy and really claiming all of it. You might be a little bit too much for some people, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. This is not the time for you to dumb yourself down. This is a time for you to fully appreciate and get really in touch with your power. And a lot of that, again, is being rooted in the divine feminine. But not just that, being rooted in the divine feminine and working very beautifully, masterfully with the divine masculine, because this is all about movement forward. When you decide to move forward, everything else gets out of your way in 2022. This is a very directed year for you. You've decided that you're not wasting any more time. You didn't waste any more. You didn't waste any time in the past, but this is how you see things. You're ready to move forward, and you're ready to be seen. You weren't ready to be seen before because you were afraid of your own power. And that's completely fair enough, because you couldn't see all of your own power, and it was very vast. When you can sense something, but you don't understand it, but you sense the power of it, it's very easy to be overwhelmed by it, and ergo terrified of it, right? Now everything's out. You can see what it is, but you can also see how you've lived your life before, and you can also see how you've sold yourself short many, many, many times before. Now that was totally fine. That was unavoidable based on what was going on, but it is not. It does not need to happen anymore. So 2022, there's a new gain, there's a new wisdom, there's a new way of moving forward. There was a solidifying of your own energy and not backing down. Now, as things come up and you're starting to integrate your power, it could be not a rocky road by any stretch of imagination, but it's going to take a while for you to get used to the energy and get fused with the energy, right? So things are not going to feel familiar. You're going to feel a little confused, maybe a little overwhelmed. You're going to feel as though nothing is solidified. You're going to work with the energy of trusting yourself and falling out of trust of yourself, but you'll always come back to trusting yourself. This is all part and part of what you're going through. Allow it to happen without overdoing it and trying to get too much in your own mind and drive yourself crazy. There's going to be some ups and downs and a little bit of bumps as your energy comes back and you start really working with it. But when you have those moments of like pure and total trust, and that happens when you push yourself and you say, I'm going to do it anyway, even if people are overwhelmed, or even if people misunderstand me. That's another thing that happened with you a lot. Even if people misunderstand me or they don't get me, I'm going to do it anyway. The right people are going to, and it might be terrifying for you, but the more you push yourself on the smaller levels, and then you get that feedback of, oh my God, that was incredible. Even if nobody else gets it, all you need is one person. And it's not about being validated at all. It's just about mirroring what it is that you already know. You're not out for validations. That's not what it is. That's why it only takes one person, because you're like, if one person understands where I'm coming from and I can help one person, I've done my job. That's it. It's not about validation. So, you know, wherever you are right now, push yourself in these small ways to put yourself out there if it feels right. If you are in your heart chakra and you totally understand that you're coming from your own truth, it's not ego talking, you're coming from the point of love, but it's a little bit badassery, do it anyway and watch how that shifts your reality. Because it's taking you out of a stagnant reality and putting you baby steps forward. But we're going to be honest with you, even though it may seem like baby steps to you, I just did this one thing, I stood up, I said that, it didn't feel like that big of a deal. You're sending out these intense ripple effects out, and you're going to monopolize those ripple effects in 2022 and move these forwards. These little baby steps are really solidifying your power in such a really, really beautiful and powerful way that it's setting this really firm foundation for you to move forward, to do anything that you want in 2022. 2022 is absolutely your year. A lot of you thought 2021 was going to be your year, and it was for you, but in a different way. That was in an insular way. 2022 is when you're going to really be able to see everything come to fruition. That's the payoff. but it's also a way where you're going to be solidified into your power. And it's the way that you're going to be able to connect with everybody else in their power. And that's going to be very powerful for you. How many times can we say power? That's going to be very powerful for you in 2022. In 2021, a lot of this was done solo affair. Not exactly sort of behind closed doors like PAL 1, but still done incrementally, sort of away from the world in a way. And that's the way that you needed to do it. And that was really important. So 2022, you've absolutely got this. We would say really draw into what it is that you think you want. And in this way, we said this with PAL 1 also, keep it expansive. But start being really clear about what you think you want. Script it out. Get it ready, because your visualization skills, once it's clicked into your power, it's beyond. It's next level. You've always had it. Even with your power sort of being stifled a little bit, you've always been able to do it. Can you imagine how powerful this is going to be as a catalyst moving forward now that your power is out and ready to be seen? So whatever it is that you want, be very clear about it. Click into your heart chakra. Make sure you're asking for your highest self. That's the quickest way to get it. And then go out there and live your life. You've absolutely got this. But yeah, 2022 is absolutely your year. But stay in that power. And, you know, regardless of the ups and downs, allow yourself to be seen. Because the way in which you want to be seen is without dumbing yourself down. And you've been working really hard at this one way or another. So remind yourself you're not here to be liked by absolutely everybody, but the people who adore you would do anything for you. And at the end of the day, it's that pure total love that you're here to experience. And you will, and you'll be able to experience that on such a deep level in 2022. So that's what we have for you, PAL 2, sending you so much love and admiration for whoever you are, wherever you are in the world. And of course, do check out the Unicorn Light podcast. The details are down below. Episode 7 is absolutely wonderful, and that will really help you detox and get back into your power too. So we recommend that you go for it. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We would love to have you. And click that like button and click that bell icon so you never miss a reading. There's 2 a week. And lots of other great goodies coming up at the beginning of next year. I've got a new website coming up. Very, very exciting. So stay tuned. All right, my darlings. Until we meet again, take care. Bye-bye. Oh, beautiful PAL 3s. This is your doorway. Your doorway says this one pointing to the right. So if you chose PAL 3, this is your reading. So it is 2022 celebrations. What greatness is coming in for you next year or in the year 2022. As always, we're going to start off with, well, not always, but we are going to be starting off with our oracle. Move on to some tarot for some extra energy later on. Let's get right into your reading. Communication is key. New moon in Gemini is your first card. Then you have the Cloak of Wisdom. You already know the answer you seek. Trust what you know. Beautiful energy there. Then you have Time Out 37. And then you, oops, excuse me. And then you have Longing for Home, Belonging, the original light workers. Okay, so there is a sense of... There is a sense of struggle that's coming to an end, PAL 3. There is a sense of, it feels as though for 2021 was a very eventful year for you. Again, like everybody, some ups and downs, some in and around, some moving around, shake it all about, that sort of thing, right? A little bit of hokey cokey. There was a lot of trying on, lots of energies, working through them, figuring out, you know, a lot of people figure out who they are by clearing out other people's energies and coming back into their own center. Because you're the type of light worker that's an incredible light worker and you're transmuting energy, you actually came back to a sense of yourself by bringing on all of the energy, all the global energy, all the collective energy, and learning how to transmute it properly. Right? Now, this was sometimes a confusing process for you because you weren't always sure where you ended and somebody else began or the world began. It's almost like you melded in there and not in a way that was very securing, in a way that we're all one, what everybody says, right? We are absolutely all one, but we're also unique and sovereign beings. And one must have a sense of oneself without being, you know, filtered outside of the ego before we know how to work in the collective in such a way, you know. a lot of people step up into a leadership role without really understanding the basic fundamentals of that. And that's why things can get co-opted a little bit. But you've been working through this energy and figuring it out. It's not a small thing. It's actually in the year that I'd say 18 months to the last 2 years, but particularly, hands down 2021, the work that you've done in that 1 year probably would have taken people at least 20 years to do. And it's been a little bit hard on your body one way or another too. Not too drastically hard, but a little bit hard on your body. So you're being asked to sort of take a time out. You're being asked to really solidify the end of 2021. And really lean into the work and the energy that you've been doing. It's not small in any way. You've been working in the collective, you've been working globally, you've been working individually. There are a lot of insights that you have that are very valid insights that are needed, integrated into the world. The way in which you communicate them will be brilliant, and this is what you're going to be bringing into 2022. You have an objective version of what's going on, or how we are moving and what energy is and how it's shifting. And a lot of the old paradigms don't work anymore, even within spirituality. A lot of that old stuff isn't holding up anymore. A lot of what we've been taught was good. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It doesn't really correlate anymore. We've outgrown it. So you have come in a very specific time to meld your energy and meld your wisdom from many, many past lives, the original alchemist, to be able to, you've already come in as a higher being. But you're here in a human body with an ego to work with that ego in a really beautiful way to figure out quite a few things. And again, the energy levels of you this year and how you've been transmuting and what's been going on has been incredible this year. Now, you've got this in common with Pile 1, but vastly different energy. We can't even tell you how much you've gone through because there's still an element of you. You started coming out on the other side of it, so you can look back now and start appreciating how far you've come. But while you were in it, it was almost quite confusing. And there were a lot of ups and downs, and there was a lot of raw emotion that would come out. And then there was an element of you that felt really almost disgusted with yourself for having those really strong emotions, because there was a part of you that didn't feel that. And you didn't know really what was going on. So there was a channeling of all of these emotions that you were doing, and it was coming out in your own personal life. They weren't necessarily really yours, but they kind of were. They were mirrored from the interior to the collective. But this you got to... So the work that you did on yourself, just to make things clear, I want to try and make things clear for you. The work that you did on yourself, you were also doing for the collective. That doesn't always happen. There's been, a lot of people that have not been working on themselves and just been working in the collective, and it's the same energy going round and round. You've been working on yourself, which has been shifting the collective. It's completely different. So you're working in a completely different realm to a lot of other people, which also may have felt as though you were quite lonely in some way and doing this stuff, doing this energy work on your own. And sometimes you could have been quite hard on yourself trying to figure out if you were, not that you were obsessed with the idea of being right or wrong, but you wanted to be on the right path, and that's perfectly reasonable. There could have been some doubts along the way that somehow you'd been corrupted, or you didn't know if you'd made the right decisions, if you were doing the right thing. You were, confused at certain times because there was so much going on. Sometimes, we're being transmuting from one to the other is just a lot of energy. And again, it was hard on your body. So let's get you some more information. So this is an incredible time for you to really diversify what it is you think that you're here for. So the one thing that we're picking up very clearly is that there's a new activation for you coming in 2022. You're here to do several different missions. You're here to do several different things in this lifetime. Now, you were activated fully into one of those missions in the last couple of years, and that was playing out for you. A very incredible mission. But there's a new mission coming in for you in 2022, should you decide to take it. And it's very exciting. And it's a lot higher level than you were sort of expecting or that you've ever worked at before. But if you're open to it, it's something that could be very rewarding. Yeah, you have the King of Wands, you've got that passion going in there, and you've got the Seven of Wands. So this is about Eight of Wands coming in. So this is an energy, and the Wheel of Fortune, right? So this is an energy from the external coming in, shining your light and doing what you're doing. So a lot of the work that you've done, to a certain degree, you thought went slightly unnoticed, or it wasn't unnoticed completely. It was just known within a sort of a small realm, a small group. Now, you've been wondering, right? There's some of you that's been wondering, are you staying in the small group because, you know, your energy isn't completely solidified yet, or there's still more to learn, or you're not sure if you're transmuting properly, or this, that, and the other. No, none of that. Whatever it is that you're working through, and however it is that you've worked with the energy, has been absolutely incredible. You're working on a smaller scale to solidify that smaller scale, so you'll be ready for the bigger scale. That's all. This is all for you to really regain confidence in your own truth and learn the difference between standing behind your own energy and what you say, and sort of how do we say it? So it's learning when the good fight is ready. Now, that there are times when, you know, things need to be said, and there are times when things don't need to be said, and learning that divine timing for you, because you in the past you've been a little bit of a hothead. You also love the idea of justice. You're here to make sure that everybody that should be getting their just desserts, in a way, everybody should be treated equally. You're here for that, including animals, for a lot of you. But you're not here to do that through the ego. You're here to do this in really, really practical, tangible ways, in the way that shifting your energy, shifting the world. You're here to put your money where your mouth is. You're here to actually do the work, right? Not just talk about it. You're here to do the work. And the work is really difficult. And this is something that you and your body knows for the last year. So you're here to really understand how to articulate yourself, when to say something, when not to, when it's time to say something, when you leave people to their own devices. Not that you think that you're right and you need to correct people, not at all. But sometimes people are doing things and saying things that are harmful, and you're trying to figure out when it's time to say, you know, that's not okay. You need to watch that and stick up for somebody else, or just articulate something, or whether it's time to sort of just let them figure it out for themselves. You know, there's a divine timing to this in how you articulate yourself. And the way in which, you know, in society we're taught that certain people have the voice no matter what they say. And some people, as a given, oh, they've gotten up there for a reason. And no, not necessarily. Just because people are in power does not necessarily mean they know what they're talking about, or what they're saying is coming from any kind of loving instincts, you know. And that goes across all boards. That goes from politics to religion, that goes to spirituality, to everybody. You know, it's not like giving everybody a wide berth just because they've been given a certain amount of power in society that they know how to wield it properly. This is something that you're here to learn. You're here to learn that. You're here to learn how to infuse your ego, learn to work with your ego, and step up to be a conscious leader. We don't have many of those. We really don't. We have people who are claiming they're conscious leaders, and that's fine. They're conscious that they're conscious leaders. That's wonderful. But we're here to have really conscious leaders in this lifetime, and you're here to do that. That's not an easy feat. So 2021, it hit you. It hit you big time. But you also felt a shifting. You felt a shifting of your energy. You felt a shifting of all of this moving. But not a lot of that on the external started moving. So you started wondering whether you were on the right track, or you know, I feel as though I've outgrown all of these circumstances, but they're still here. And it's not like you were desperately anxious to move on or anything like that. You were interested to see what happened next, but you did feel as though for a while, especially at the end of 2021, which is probably in and around where you are, that there wasn't enough movement forward. Now, here's the thing. You created a beautiful foundation for yourself. So now you move into more opportunities in 2022. You can be that conscious leader, right? Everything that you were doing, that you were transmuting on every different level, was not small in any way, shape, or form. To you, it seemed quite small. Whatever you had figured out, whatever you had solidified for yourself in 2021 may have seemed small to you, but it wasn't small to the people that you were speaking to. It's not small for the people that were showing up in and around you, that were showing up for you. It wasn't small in the grander scheme of things. It just seemed small to you. So, but here's the thing. And this made you sort of question what it is that you were doing, if it was enough, if you were doing it right. And you were looking for the external to sort of validate that. And that's perfectly reasonable. When we outgrow our circumstances, we look for bigger circumstances. When they don't appear, naturally we're going to look within and say, what the F? That's totally normal. Whatever you did was completely normal. Now, you're absolutely right in predicting in many ways that something in the external is going to shift in 2022. Absolutely. And something is coming in for you, some kind of offer, some kind of opportunity that's coming in. People that want to work with you. Because of the energy that you have created, because of the way in which you articulate yourself, because of the way that you are showing up, right? And showing up in your absolute authenticity. No crap, no bullshit, no any of this, no hidden agenda, no nothing. You're just showing up raw, right? And people are going to be able to work with you. People are going to be able to want to work with you and integrate that energy into what they do too. That's coming in for you in 2022. So your time to shine on a larger platform is coming, right? For you, honing in on that beautiful transmuting energy and taking a time out now would be wonderful. There's some healing in your body that also needs to be done. However you need to do that, if you need an outside person to help you do that, energy work, doctor, whatever you need to do, we're all here in human form to have herbs, medicine, science, everything available to us. Whatever feels right for you, go for it. A mixture of all of it, even better. But the Wheel of Fortune can move in any way. 180 here, 180 there. For you, the Wheel of Fortune has been moving around for you in 2021. But 2022, it's going to be moving forward. And it's going to be moving forward in such a way. So, taking this time out and really solidifying all of the energy and what it is that you've been doing. And this you have, again, in common with Power One, but again, very different energy. When you look back, you'll really be able to see exactly how far you've come. And you'll be able to trust in your voice and trust in your energy. There is a small part of you that is a little reluctant to be a leader. And here's the reason why. It's not because you don't think that you wouldn't be a great leader. That's not it. It's just that a part of you really doesn't want to be bothered with it. A part of you really does, just want to have a kind of a, for want of a better term, a small life. I don't know. It came up. That's how it was said to me, so I'll say it to you. It's not a small life doing what you want to do and being happy. That sounds like really large life to me. But you are here to have a bigger life than that. But there is a part of you that just doesn't really want the hassle, really, or never really wanted it, or so you told yourself. Really, at the end of the day, it was because you were afraid to be in the limelight because of other things that's happened to you, particularly in past life and persecution and this, that, and the other. And you didn't want to spend a lifetime defending yourself. So 2021 was figuring out how you don't defend yourself. And the one way you learn how not to defend yourself is to completely honor and accept every part of yourself, especially your darkness. And that's what you did in 2021. Not everybody's done that. They're still working the work, but they've not accepted all of that darkness. They're still projecting it. And that's up to them to do. But this is something that you've been doing. It's really, really tough work. It's really, really tough work. So that's what you've been doing in 2021. And it's incredible work in that way. And the payoff is going to be greater. But when the payoff comes in, and again, that will be external coming into your beautiful life in 2022, you'll have that firm foundation of knowing that you can enjoy that limelight when you get up there, instead of constantly looking over your shoulder going, all right, when's the shoe going to drop? Who's going to say something? And we can't pretend that, there's a part of you that has this beautiful energy, but you say it like it is. You definitely have that energy. I mean, we can't say that you're never going to trigger anybody, you're never going to do whatever, but it won't make any difference to you because at the end of the day, you have compassion for everybody. And even people who are being, no matter what, people are being triggered, there's a reason why. People are working to the best of their ability in these absolutely crazy times that we've never had on earth before, not to this degree. And this is something that you intrinsically realize. This is something that you absolutely know in the depths of your heart. So you have this incredible energy of community, this incredible energy of uncompromising self-acceptance, which you radiate when you're around other people. You would be surprised how much that really tones down the negativity when you're around people. They may not like what you're saying, but it will be really tough for them to be kind of nasty to you when they're around you, really, at the end of the day. And they may hate themselves for it because they really want to stand their ground and this, that, and the other. But because you hold that immense compassion for yourself and again for other people, you'd be surprised how much you can really transmute that energy. And after all, that's exactly what you have been doing for the last year, on and off your entire life, but particularly for the last year, 18 months, but the year of 2022. You are a master at transmuting energy on every single level. So at this time, it's about not reliving the past and not worrying about what's going to happen in the future, but really trusting yourself and really trusting your rise to the limelight, really trusting that you're going to enjoy it, really trusting that there's a place for you there and the beauty that you are going to put out into the world is really needed. And the energy and the words that you use to articulate yourself is really needed. You get to the heart of the truth without waffling around. There's a lot of wafflers. We've lived in a timeline, especially in the 20th century, of a lot of wafflers, right? And that's fine, because there were so many different points of view, so many different things going on. But it's become so clear how we can get sort of to the truth a lot quicker now. And a lot of those old ways, again, of trying to sift through, see where the truth is, they either take too long or they're not necessary anymore. We can surely abandon them. And that's what we're doing. You're moving into a new heights of how we're going to even see healing and move forward. It is absolutely possible. And it's in true authenticity of claiming every aspect of oneself in complete acceptance. And again, this is not an easy thing to do. It's incredibly difficult. And you've done it with a vast amount of ease in some ways, even though, you probably don't see that. But you never really give yourself quite the credit that you deserve. You've gotten to the point where when people give you a compliment, you say, thank you, well done, pile 3. You wouldn't have done that before. You would have deflected it. But you're actually not quite at the point where you can see the vastness of your energy and how far you've come and what you are able to accomplish. But all of this is coming for you in coming for you, that sounds ominous, coming to you in 2022, especially if you allow yourself to rest, to fully integrate and to honor your journey and to have faith. Now, you've gone through the point of you're no longer controlling. You do understand that there's immense faith that is needed as you move forward. But the truth is that whatever it is that you've asked for is probably not enough. So more is coming to you and into your world. So this is the first time that you're not clear on what you think you want. And if you do think you want it, you're second guessing it. That's fine. That's perfectly natural. Honor that. Just stay in the expansive motion and say, I'm here to work with the universe and, give me what you've got. Let's level up. I'm going to go with the highest of what you've got. I know I'm ready. And you are ready. So, really exercise that faith. And that faith is going to come back and be solidified once you give yourself a little bit of a break. Slow down. Take a little bit of a break. If you can before 2022 or at the beginning of 2022, things will make a lot more sense. There's nothing more that you need to do to go heal yourself, as we say on this channel. Don't go down the rabbit hole of, all of this, going to figure out parts of yourself or this, that, and the other. Whatever you've done with this transmuting, you've already done. You figured out how to do it. You're on top of that. Again, this new energy is clicking in. So a new timeline, well, not necessarily a new timeline, but a new activation for you is coming in the new year. And it's bigger and better than what it was before. That may not have clicked in yet. And we're not entirely sure what that is, but it does involve you being in the limelight, possibly on camera. For each and every one of you, it'll be a little bit different. But it's a little bit different to what you thought it was going to be. And again, each and every one of you will have a different path. And it's not that it's not clear. It's actually solidified in the universe. It's just right now they want you to rest and not think about that. So I'm not being given the information of what it is. And plus, this is not a personal reading. It's a general reading. I mean, if there's thousands of you watching this, I can't go through each one and say, this is what you're clicking into. This is what you're clicking into. But each and every one of you should have a record of it, an understanding of it. And of course, if you meditate on it, it'll become clearer. But we recommend you stay in this present moment and just have that expansiveness and allow for that rest and that real healing, that respite, because you will need that energy for 2022 moving forward. Again, something on the external coming in, that opportunity. But you are absolutely being protected. You're absolutely got all your energy and your angels in and around you, your guides, for solidifying the life that you want, which will be happening in 2022. So just Stay the course. You've got this. But don't try and overthink this. Sometimes you do. You go around in your head, drive yourself crazy. It's not going to help you do that. It's just not. You need some rest. But all of this is happening for you without a shadow of a doubt. So that's what we have for you, Pile 3, sending you so much love and appreciation for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Do not forget, we would love to have you check out the Unicorn Light podcast, the last number 7 episode of this year. It will absolutely help you without a shadow of a doubt. Finish off detox, get you back to yourself. It's beautiful, from 0 to infinity. Go get your life. So that link is down below. And of course, if you have not subscribed, we would love to have you go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button and the bell icon so you never miss a video twice a week. And stay tuned too on Instagram and all of that. I reach out. We've got some really exciting offers and some beautiful things coming in the very, very beginning, January 3rd, 2022. So you want to stay tuned for all of that stuff. All right, my darlings, until we meet again, take care, Pile 3. Bye-bye.